Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Thank you very much for tuning in. Manchester United versus Liverpool. This is the top six preview. It's going to be a lovely and amazing Sunday, there's no doubt. This game, regardless of the season, regardless of the situation, is always big. It's always big. You can never play it down. Manchester United and Liverpool's biggest games of the season. Local rivalry, historical rivalry, geographical rivalry. It has it all. It has it all. And when you look at Liverpool, they're in this top four race to try and secure Champions League football. We're going to delve into what Jurgen Klopp has said, that it doesn't matter if they don't make the top six. It won't impact their transfers. A lot of people think the Wolves being pulled over the eyes there. Man United with big news today. Cavani's new deal will be announced within days. And Paul Pogba is close to agreeing a new deal. And according to Laurie Whitwell at The Athletic, it looks highly likely. We're going to delve into those two stories. Also look at the game and talk about the game, you know, who's it more important to, teams, lineups, etc., how you want your teams to go and play. We will be taking your calls as well later on in the show. So make sure that like button is being hit. I've got a wonderful panel tonight. We've got man like Sonny in the house, getting himself ready. I don't know, Harry, what he's going to say tonight. Is he going to slag us off? Is he going to celebrate? Is he going to be...
We're not playing Real Madrid, so we're cool.
Scotsman, Conroy is here. He's ready. Maybe his pussy's going to give us a little show later. The last time he was in that room, that pussycat was all over that screen. We've got man like Daniel and his famous persons. Honestly, a lot of people messaged him about them the other day. He's here to give a rival perspective. And joining me on the Man United front is man like Neeks from Neeks Sports. The beard's had a trim. He's still buzzing from last night. And here we go. Gentlemen, afternoon. How you all doing?
Good.
Good, mate. Good. I'm good, man. I'm all right.
How you feeling?
It's Friday.
Yeah. How you feeling today, Neeks, after last night?
Listen, I'm just like I'm very calm. Like, it's just I don't know if it's because it's a Europa League and it's not a Champions League, but I'm like, oh, it happened, cool. Now I'm just thinking about the final. Maybe it's the fact that we won 6-2. I don't have to think about the second leg. I'm just thinking about the final. Like, I've actually good goals yesterday, but it means nothing because you know the Champions League. If you get knocked out in the semis, you say, oh, well, that was a good run. We try again next year. In the Europa League, if you get knocked out in the semis, you might as well get knocked out in the group stages. Like, it's still embarrassing. So I'm just literally looking to the final and hoping Arsenal get knocked out, isn't it?
Listen, I hear you on that. For me, I feel like I want to make sure I say this in the right way. I'm a bit like you because the second leg is now a dead rubber, in my opinion. I'm just sort of relaxed about it. There's no pressure moving forward, but I am buzzing. I've watched the highlights about 5 or 6 times. So good to see Bruno, Cavani and Pogba just so cohesive in their approach. And I think it really takes the pressure off of this weekend. A bad result last night puts pressure on this game. From a Liverpool fan's point of view, seeing Manchester United last night destroy Roma, was a message sent? How did you think and feel about that, Conroy?
See, to be honest, I came out the shower at half time. It was 2-1. Said no sweat, Man United. There's been numerous times this season you've been behind, and I've been confident you'd win the game. I've not even bothered. I wouldn't watch the game. Wouldn't watch United normally, and it didn't change last night. To be fair, Roma, like, don't get me wrong, it's great to score 6 goals, and I'm not defeating it. Could be a few United fans have said Roma were poor as well, but Liverpool beat Roma 5-2 a couple of years ago in the Champions League as well. So they do leak goals. Ironically, I think that Pellegrini scored the penalty in that game as well, and he did last night. But I felt, you know what, United have been better than Liverpool this season anyway. Last night didn't change my opinion on it. This Liverpool United game, I do always feel like it's, say, form. I do think form kind of goes out the window in that sense, but I also think Liverpool have got a massive psychological problem at Old Trafford. Have done for years, been playing amazing, still struggle to score at Old Trafford, struggle to play with any like composure in the final third. So it's not really changed my opinion towards the game, to be honest, Terry. But, you know, fair play, scoring 6 goals in any game, especially the European tie, you've got to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Jurgen Klopp, I don't think he's ever as you say, he's never beaten Man United at Old Trafford.
Yeah, he hasn't. No.
In the Premier League. Is that a concern for you, Sonny, with United's form going into this game, your record at Anfield, Klopp's record at Anfield, and the fact that you haven't really stepped up when the pressure's been on at all this season?
Yeah, no, I get that. And of course, it's a bit of a two moods that, I mean, like, there's some ways that I'm confident, but they're not real reasons. But for this game, like you said there, I think we're usually the superior team when we go to Old Trafford while Klopp's been in charge. Now it's different. It could be like a storyline where it changes around. We finally get a win there, but it's unlikely. But I could back that. I could back that. Now we go and finally get a win where we haven't been able to, but we've usually been better than you playing you at Old Trafford. Now we're worse. I think it might be roles reversed, but I don't know.
I hear you on that. I do hear you. There's no doubt about that. From your point of view, looking from the outside in, Daniel, you've obviously got a vested interest in this game because you're in a top 4 race with Liverpool. You're going to play actually tomorrow at 5:30, so you could put massive pressure on Liverpool by picking up. You could put yourselves under 61 points, which would put you. Wow, that would put you 7 points in front of Liverpool. I mean, if you win tomorrow, do you see Liverpool coming out and fighting hard to try and claw that back, or do you see it sort of crumbling their confidence at all?
If we beat Liverpool, it's done. I mean, if Liverpool lose, sorry, it's done. They won't get top 4.
It's done then, mate. It's done, mate.
No, it's a must-win game. No, in all honesty, it's not even any shade or anything. It's a must-win game tomorrow for Liverpool, in my opinion, in terms of the top 4 race. Liverpool were the team that actually predicted to make the top 4 with Chelsea. Obviously, now Leicester have carried on winning unexpectedly. So, I mean, that spot almost seems sewn up in their regard as well. And Iheanacho was kind of single-handedly taking them.
Yeah, of course, Iheanacho had to turn up now, man.
Trying to finalise the job, innit? But tomorrow Liverpool have to win, man. Especially because United are in a state where the league's done. All focus now is on the Europa League, really. Do you know what I'm saying? You guys have got second. I think second is two out of reach for everyone else. I think it's just about finishing as strongly as possible, as they say. But really and truly, second is sewn up. And Liverpool have to go in and take that game by the scruff of the neck, really. But it's tough, man. It's tough because Liverpool have really, really struggled with the injuries. And it's clear that Van Dijk is clearly the fulcrum of every, he's the myth, the system, the man. He's clearly been missed. So, yeah, man. It's what it is, man.
I hear you on that. Neeks, from your point of view, we'll touch on Man United in a few moments. Viewers, make sure that like button is being hit. We will be talking Pogba and Cavani's new deals and Liverpool transfer targets a little bit later in this show. But in terms of Liverpool coming into this game, Neeks, do you feel like, I want to say this in the right way, do you get a sense that if Chelsea win and they've got this it's a big gap, 7 points with 12 to play for, do you think that could help Manchester United in this individual game? Because Liverpool are going to have to come out and attack. And if they attack and have that high line, it could be curtains, right?
I'm going to be honest with you. You lot clip this up, innit? It might come back to bite me. But
I don't think it will, Neeks. I'm telling you, mate.
Well, I hope it doesn't
at all.
But Liverpool are pitiful this season. It's actually embarrassing. And I say embarrassing in the way, not of a mid-table, former top 6 club that we don't really mention anymore, but in the way that you get 99 points or whatever it was last year, and I don't even see fight from them. I see them throwing games away. Leeds, Newcastle, you get let off the hook in the 93rd minute and give the game away in the 95th minute. I think that regardless of what happens on tomorrow with Chelsea Fulham, I don't know if Liverpool's got the fight for this. I don't know if Liverpool's got the belief that they can catch Chelsea, and if Chelsea were to lose to Fulham, which would be a big shock in itself, I think the pressure that Liverpool's going to be under to now get the win to put them back in contention may cause them to buckle anyway. So I think either way, whether Chelsea win or Chelsea lose, I don't know if Liverpool's actually got the fight, because too many times this season, I've just seen a lack of belief, a lack of energy, and obviously a lack of quality in many departments. So I don't know if the Chelsea result.
Can I just add to that really quick? After the Newcastle game, I think it was probably the 3rd time I've written off top 4. There's been about 3 different occasions in the last 3 months, I want to say. Each time I've written it off, Liverpool have usually, after that, came back and started winning games again, almost getting themselves back into it. I think now it's too late, but I think we probably will start winning some more games now that it looks unrealistic we're going to get top 4. I don't know, that doesn't sound like it makes sense.
But every time that you get close, then you fall away. It's like
Yeah,
the
no,
pressure
exactly. I agree,
of
yeah.
it being back in your hands or having a chance.
Yeah,
It's
the
like,
only thing
I
constant
don't
is the
know.
inconsistency. That's the only thing constant. I said it 3 months ago, we're not going to make the top four. I've not changed my opinion once, and it's going to be true because that's what's going to happen. There's no way this team, talk about belief, I agree, Neeks, but just performance in general, they can't. I'd say the Newcastle game was probably, a lot of Liverpool fans will try to clutch at straws and say, oh, that's been like us all season. That's not true. Like, we've still created chances, but we've battered Newcastle. We've not battered a lot of teams this season. The games we've lost at Anfield, it's been deserved to lose the games. It's not been like, a typical battering them for 90 minutes and a sucker punch. I just feel like Liverpool inconsistent for 2 months now, and Chelsea could probably lose 3 games and still make top 4. I actually firmly believe that because Liverpool cannot keep up.
You look at the fixtures. Look at the fixtures Liverpool's got. Like before the Newcastle game, forget the Leeds one for a second. But before the Newcastle game, Liverpool had the easiest fixtures on paper. Maybe you could say West Ham, but West Ham are supposed to be less quality than Liverpool. So Liverpool had the easiest fixtures. Other than Man United, I think it's all like bottom half teams or mid-table to bottom half teams. They should have got top 4. But as Conrad says, they're not going to get it. They're not going to get it. And why they're not going to get it? Because I just don't, they ain't got the quality. I don't think they got the belief. I think they just
Mentality's gone, mate. Mentality's gone.
Yeah, it's not about the quality because they have the quality. Like this is what.
When I say quality, more performance, they're lacking. The quality. Obviously, we know Mane, Firmino got ability, but if man scored 3 goals in 20 games, I don't know what they're. I'm just throwing out numbers. I could be right. The quality is not there for one reason or another.
You make a good point there about the pressure. I think if it could do the opposite effect. If Chelsea win, it may just make them relax and play football because there's the last time I actually saw Liverpool play really well was against Man United in the FA Cup, which they subsequently lost. But it was almost like, well, we don't try and win the FA Cup anyway. It's a free hit of a game because no one at Liverpool cares whether or not they win that trophy. And Jurgen Klopp's made it abundantly clear that it's never their focus. And they were kind of relaxed. It's such an interesting one. From a Man United perspective, though, I want to go to Cam on this. Welcome to the show, mate.
Hey, man, certainly.
You want to see a strong Man United team for this game because it's Liverpool? Or do we now go into this mold of let's just try and keep as many as our first team players fresh as possible for this Europa League?
We must be really bad.
No. You play your team. You keep doing. Ollie's been very consistent with how he's been rotating. He'll drop like maybe 1 or 2 players here or there, but you keep, for the most part, you keep your strong team. You keep that momentum going, right? You don't mess with it too much. We've seen what happens when he tinkers a bit too much, and we talk about like when Pep and all these other managers do it. I think you play the team. You play a strong team. It's Liverpool. You want to beat Liverpool every year, regardless. And I think this will be the nail in their coffin if they lose to us. And I just think as a United fan, I think as the players, you want to go into this game and win this game proper and continue that momentum, because this isn't just about this season anymore, right? In my opinion, everything we do from this point on, we're still going and building into next season as well. And a win over Liverpool is still a proper feather in the cap. It adds belief to the squad. It's like, look, you just went. I know Liverpool's a skeleton squad right now, but it's still Liverpool, and there's still Salah, there's still Mane, it's still a test. So go beat them, play the right team, don't mess around. In my opinion, I would look at it that way. Especially because we're not the next leg. We should be starting a lot. Like we shouldn't be looking at the next leg in the Europa League as a game that we need to start with our strong players, right? So keep guys fit. Only dudes I would sit, if I'm gonna be honest with you, is I would not start Cavani and I would not start Rashford. Those guys can sit, and maybe Pogba, because if you still
Pogba's to start, man.
Pogba should start, but I'm saying those 2 for sure should not play.
Yeah, are you saying that because you got the league wrapped up, or are we that bad?
No, I'm saying that because Rashford's got major injury concerns. He's not himself currently. We're playing him out of position on the right. Cavani, we cannot afford to lose Cavani at this stage, and he's made a paper. And we do have second wrapped up, and you guys are kind of that bad right now. But like, to be honest with you, it's all of those things. But it's more I want to protect our players, and I don't see us needing Rashford or Cavani to beat you in the current state, if I'm being honest with you.
Wow, that is a big claim. No Rashford, no Cavani needed to. Can you imagine 12 months ago? Forget a literal 12 months at this stage with 4 or 5 games to go of last season, just after lockdown. Could you have imagined saying in 12 months' time, Man United would be 10 plus points in front of Liverpool and going into a game at the back end of the season, wanting to win? but in a position where we can rest our players because we still think we can beat them. Did anyone imagine that happening?
Well, listen, if we were, sorry, go on.
No, I'm just saying, I thought it'd be like a few years till we get to that stage.
But we've always struggled at Old Trafford,
10 points,
guys. Always struggled at Old Trafford.
If we were 10 points ahead of Liverpool, if you told me last year we're 10 points ahead of Liverpool, I would have thought we'd win the title. Like that's honest. I would have thought, we're gonna win the title then,
yeah.
and we wrapped it up because we can rest Rashford. Like that's crazy. Liverpool's
it's not to be disrespectful in any way. It's just that you guys have a scout. Like let's call a spade a spade. Your defense is a shambles right now. Greenwood is on
our attack's a shambles, mate. Our attack's a shambles.
It's
So then to the United fans, then I have a question then, because obviously we've spoken about Liverpool's frailties and everything to do with that, and everyone has spoken about Oli. I mean, there's literally a division in terms of some people who say Oli should be sacked, some people who say like they don't think he can win trophies. I don't know how many people genuinely want Oli to keep the job, but that's neither here or there. Fair enough. But is it true that, or what is the general consensus now? Can Oli win you guys the big prize? Or
what's the big prize to my Premier League, Champions League,
Premier League title? The Premier League title.
I don't know.
Not with this team.
Not with this team.
So if Oli gets the right investment this year, so let's say you buy a centre back, let's say Pau Torres or whoever, I'm just throwing out names, and then you get your striker. I believe you want a winger as well, and a DM. I don't know. So basically, let's say you have a summer where unbelievably you have a Chelsea type, Manchester City type summer where you buy everything that you think you need. Yeah. And Oli gets those players. Will you be predicting yourselves to be winning the league?
Let me answer that. So there's two things. If we don't win the Europa League, my confidence of winning a league or a Champions League will suffer.
Let's say you win the Europa League.
If we win the Europa League and we get centre back, defensive midfielder, right winger, keep Cavani and Pogba.
I'll say with chest,
I'm going neck to neck with Man City for the title.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. You can never say we are guaranteed to beat Pep to the title, but I'm backing my team. I look
at it slightly different, but I agree with where you're coming from. So if we win this Europa League, finish second, end the season strong, that we're going to move on to the Pogba and the Cavani deals in a moment, because I think the Eric Bailly deal and the Cavani deal puts us into a position where we have to be landing Jadon Sancho, because if Cavani's signing a new deal, we do not need to go out and buy a striker. And that was something that was muddy in the waters, because all the top strikers we wanted were like 80+ million. Can we afford that and the Sancho, which we also need? Everyone was no. If we bring in a Sancho-esque player on the right, we need with Pogba looking like he's been reborn on this left-hand side, actually delivering. For me, he's even better than Jack Grealish in that position. I said it earlier today and I stand by it. If we were to then go and get a Declan Rice, for instance, and play that in a CDM role or in the double pivot, I don't really care what way round people want to sort of twist it into. But if we put Declan Rice into the middle, keep Pogba on that left, Sancho on that right, Cavani up front, and then I don't even think we need a world-class centre-back straight away. Even if we just add some proper cover at the back, then my view is this. Oli has no excuse to not be neck and neck with Manchester City.
No, because Terry, that's not what I'm asking though, Terry. It's not about whether Oli has excuses, whether you as a fan believe.
Oli won't be able to convince me that he can win something major until I see him win something major. My view is, but where I'm not the Oli out bottom mob is that I want him to do it. So, you know, when I watch every game, I'm like, please do it, Oli. If he doesn't, I'm like, I'm not convinced. But I don't look at it from the angle of, I want him to, like, we had Johnny on here, and I'll speak about it because Johnny's been open about it. Johnny has openly said, I want Oli to lose so he definitely gets sacked. Mm-hmm. I'm not like that. I don't necessarily believe in him, but I want him to prove me right. So am I convinced? No, not like Neeks and Cam are. But do I want him to do it as much as Neeks and Cam? Absolutely, because there's a story here, and everybody ignores this story. Oli would be the first legend, ex-player legend of a club to win the title with the club that he's associated to being a legend with. No one else has done that.
In the Premier League.
In the Premier League. No one did it. It's not been done. In the Premier League. No one else has done that. So I want that. Yeah. I want it to be my manager and my Ollie, I love Ollie, to do it. Am I convinced though? This is the point. Am I convinced? Yeah, I'm not. I'm
Cool,
not.
then. On the flip side, then
I'm actually
very quickly. Then Conroy and Sonny. Then if you guys win, if you guys get when you guys get Van Dijk back, and you probably have a bit of investment, you obviously got Kanate, which is good cover as well for the centre backs you have. Are you guys straight back into the title race as well now next year?
No. We need to remember Van Dijk ain't even displayed. It was. Go on, Corey.
No, what I was going to say is, I agree with what Son's going to say. ACL, you don't know, you can't guarantee he's ever going to be the same player, never mind when he gets back. But Liverpool's Twitter account will debate against that, because every time we lose a game, oh, look, he's training. That's great. Couldn't care less, mate, genuinely. Oh, it's like Manny's missing this week, been awful all season. We missed this guy at half-time. No, we don't. Propaganda. Give it a rest. Fed up of it. But actually, on that question, mate, for me, I think we're missing the elephant in the room here. City are class, and they're going to strengthen. and can you compete with them? I don't think so. I think if City win the league, shit out to Callum from Coppish, he made a really good point. If that hoodoo goes out the window, we might as well take next season off, because
if they win the Champions League,
they can get. If they win the Champions League, they're going to get stronger, and they tell you they're not going to get a striker.
Listen,
if City get Kane.
Big up, listen, big up Drifty, right? I love the boys over at Coppish.
Callum said it.
Sorry?
Who said it? Callum,
yeah, he said.
Sorry. Big up all the boys over there. But you know where I disagree with that kind of that thought process is 2 seasons. Last season, nobody at the beginning predicted Man City to fall off like they did. At the beginning of this season, nobody predicted Liverpool to fall off like they did. That's why you don't focus on.
It's different. Yeah. It's different. It's completely different.
Sonny, wait. It's not different.
Go on.
Different. You focus on you. Man United make them their team the best it possibly can be. Don't worry about what City, Liverpool, Chelsea are doing, and focus on you and stay in your lane and push yourselves on, because you don't know how good or bad everybody else is going to be. If Man United have the attitude of we don't need to work hard because we can't win the league because of City, if City do slip up, we're not in the position to swim in and get in the slipstream. I see great strikers do this. Those strikers that they follow the back pass in case it's under hit. And every now and then that back pass is under hit and they're there ready to tap it in. That's what you need to be as a football club.
No, but as fans, you can think like that.
Yeah, but we're talking about as fans, you can think it, but no, you can't. It's stupid.
You can.
No.
Can I explain why it was different then? Because Man City, when they dropped off, it wasn't like they won the Champions League. They bottled that as well against Spurs. They won the English stuff, which for me is expected. When we won the league with 99 points, whatever that was, we dropped off before the next season even started. So I don't think that's.
I disagree with that, because we had. Okay, look at Chelsea, for example. We had a season where Lampard finished 4th and got to FA Cup final. Cool, optimistic. We then start the season terribly. We're now in 10th in the new year. So this is in January, we're 10th. And then we say the season's done. Bring in a new manager, but the season's done. We're focusing on next season. But what we've done is, with the Champions League and obviously FA Cup final now, we just kept on winning and put ourselves in a position to capitalize on it. You think Chelsea fans really thought we were going to beat Atletico Madrid at the time where they were flying top of La Liga comfortably, and we beat them without them scoring a goal over 2 legs? You thought we thought that in a million years? You thought in a million years this Chelsea team, of all Chelsea teams, would be competing with Real Madrid, where we're leaving the Bernabeu?
Oh yeah, because your record for your owner making right decisions is amazing, and yet you complained when he sat Lampard. It's the proof's in the pudding.
I know you can say
Matteo won the Champions League. It's there.
Liverpool are still good enough, though, Conroy. I personally think that. Look, at the end of the day, let's look at the team.
No, I'm not. Sorry, Daniel. I'll change my opinion on that. Sorry.
Oh yeah, go on. No, go on.
What I was going to say, Daniel. Sorry, it was. See on Liverpool for next season. My point is, no, I do think we can still do that and we can progress. But for me, I don't think we can just jump back in the title race. I think for us, we have to look at it as a kind of, going to fed up with saying this, but like a kind of 3-year strategy again to build that. I think that is.
But the reason you can't do it is this. I just went and had a look. I want to get my numbers right. Since World War II, only 10 times have a team retained their title. 10 times in 80 years. So that's why you can't sit there and just say, they've won the Champions League and the league. That means they're going to win it again.
No, but they're
no. Stop saying no.
They're so good.
It's not about that though.
It's realistic.
Acting like that's it. They're just going to win it. What based on what? Based on
them. Based on them.
No, hold on. Sorry,
of course.
sorry, guys. I have a question though. I have a question though, because like, when's the last time we've seen an actual title contention challenge? We haven't in a bit. It's been either Liverpool run away or City run away.
No. 2019.
The season before.
The season before. Okay, cool. And realistically, that was close. So what I think will happen next year, is you're going to have Chelsea, and you're going to have United be better. And now we're all talking about City hasn't felt pressure this year, really. Once we dropped off, they were like, cool, United's not going to make up the ground. It's without the pressure, you do play a bit differently. We've seen it week in, week out, especially with our own team, where we always would watch games and be like, watch, everybody lost, and now United's going to screw up and bottle it. Luckily, we've gotten out of that phase. But I want to see what happens when there's 3-4 teams on City's back, on the necks, ready.
And even on that point, if City do win the Champions League, I will go out on a limb and say they will not win the league the next year, because if you think about what happens with teams, when United did beat Chelsea in the Champions League final, I think it was, that was 8-9, the 8-9 season, 7-8 season. So the year after, then obviously United retained their title. That was where they won the third straight of 3 league titles. The year after, that's like you've reached the pinnacle. That's almost like like you actually won everything you can win.
No, but the thing is with City for me, is they just win games differently to everyone else. Like they have this sort of confidence about them.
Bro, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that. Hang on, let me tell you when.
All right, go on.
They didn't do it in the 2017 season. They didn't do it in the 2020 season. So 2 of the last 5 years, they haven't just beaten every team that's been in front of them. So to act like, next year will be the one they do, we don't know. The point is, Man United, if they make those signings that we say, if Van Dijk comes back and is fine, and you make 3 or 4 good signings, you should be challenging. And
but we should.
No, hang on a minute. And you should be challenging. What you're doing, Sonny, bruv, smart. It's I'm going to play it down like we don't.
No, I'm not playing the underdog. I'm not doing that.
Have a chance, and then we get to do the
I'm not doing that.
2 and have a second Disney story when we win the league.
No, because you're saying that we should challenge for the title next year. This year, right now, we should be up near 3rd and 4th. We're nowhere near it.
No, you should be challenging for the title.
Yeah, what, this season
you should be.
Yes.
In the situation we're in, I disagree.
You know why you're not? No, you know why you're not? Do you know why you're not? It's nothing to do with Van Dijk's injury has added to it, right? Your injury problems have added to it. But from the start of the season, Liverpool weren't at it because you won that title and a bit of hunger went away.
No, hang on, but we were like 5 points clear.
No, that isn't the point. Nobody else had hit form yet as well. You didn't have the desire to dig in. When you beat Liverpool, part of the reason you beat City in the 2019 season and they fell off is their resolve went. They'd won it 2 years on the bounce, done the domestic treble, and there's a moment in every athlete or team's life where they just go, I'm going to save this for another day, and they let go a little bit. Speak to athletes, read books. They all talk about it. Sometimes
I think it's more about the opposition.
You lose a bit.
Sonny, you know what I'll say?
Can't ignore it, bro.
The same things were being said when City won the Centurions in 2018, and then they won the domestic treble. They dubbed it the Formidables because they won the Community Shield as well in 2019, and it was like, oh my goodness, this team is actually unstoppable. Liverpool pushed them. One second. Liverpool pushed them so close, and they still weren't able to win it. Nobody can beat them. Next season, Liverpool won the league. So I've lived enough dynasties or periods of different dominance that it never lasts forever. We won 3 in a row in 99 to 2001. Arsenal came back, won the double in 2002. Then we won it in 2003 and did not win the league again in 2007. We won 3 in a row and we haven't defended a title since 2009. It's been Chelsea, us, Man City, us, and then multiple teams won it one season on off until Man City defended it. So it may, at this point, it looks like that's a long way to catch up. But you were 25 points. You were 25 points behind Man City from 2000 and the Centurion season. In that season, and you closed it to 1 point the next season. It's never as bad as it looks, and sometimes it's never as good as it feels.
And look at the City thing this year, right? So you look at Man United versus Liverpool this year. It's not a title race thing, but how far we were behind you this year, even with all your problems, you would never have got anybody to predict, and I don't know the exact number here, that we would be 13 points in front of you. The point swing from last year to this is what, 40, 50 points? If that's happened between Man United and Liverpool, why can't it happen in the other way?
But that's kind of back in my reason.
Why?
Because when I say Man City are going to be like this good, not this good, even better, or this good next season, it's not just because they're that good. I think it's because the opposition as well. I don't see Chelsea doing enough to even compete to the end of the 38 games, neither with Man United and definitely not with us.
Why? Hang on. Why not Chelsea?
Because our Chelsea's defense does not convince me. I think it's similar where they're going to bring listen. They're going to bring new players in. They're going to bring new players in. It's not going to be the same as Lampard where the new players take time to settle in, but it's still going to take time. So you're going to end up dropping quite a few points at the start of the season, and then you're going to drop too many points to compete towards the end of the season. And then with Man United, I don't think that they're that good anyway.
If you don't think Chelsea, I won't speak for Man United. The United fans will do that anyway. But if you don't think Chelsea will compete next season, you're in for a serious shock because we have a serious manager now.
We don't know.
If there's one aspect of our whole system, which if you bring in better players, which we don't even have any worries about, it's our defense. We do not concede goals.
All things being equal, I expect Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man City should be going into the summer saying we are building a team to win the title next season. All four of them.
Yeah, and
on that Chelsea defense.
Listen, bro. Listen, we're getting a bit off track in terms of the topic here, getting onto Chelsea in the stream, which is cool. But for me, Sonny, I kind of know the angle you're coming from. But with the squad, even if you just sign one or two players this summer, your squad is still good enough to win the league. Do you know how we know that? They won the league last year with almost record points and did it in the. You don't go from being that team.
No, but that'd be 18 months by next season.
Okay, but like the same reasons you've dropped off. That can happen to City, bruv. Do you know how we know that? Because it happened to them the year before. Like, these things happen. So to not go into it, if you have a good summer, I get if you have a crap summer, you won't expect to be in front of them. But that's the whole point. What we said about our teams is the right players into the team, the right people not leaving and the right ones going, and who knows where you're going to be. On that news, we're going to get on to Liverpool's transfer stuff. If they don't make top four in a few moments. Viewers, make sure you're hitting that like and that share button. We've got some super chats first. Jesse here. I love a nice heated debate like that. Says, I'm very curious to see what the club do this summer. Transfer-wise, we haven't had a manager given three summer transfer windows since Sir Alex Ferguson. The Glazer trend to invest every other year. I know there are other factors. Just a thought. You're absolutely right about that. It's going to be so interesting to see what they do. And I know some people will call this Glazer propaganda, but re-signing Pogba and keeping Cavani, they are just, I'm not going to call them re-signings, like new signings, but they are just as important as new signings because especially Pogba, he is irreplaceable. He is the best.
I think this might be the busiest summer ever, Terry. Because of the European Super League, that fans are not happy.
Yeah, it may be. So there could be, but Paul Pogba is the best midfielder in world football. Keeping hold of him is going to be important. But of course, look, we spoke about the
hang on, say that again.
He's the best midfielder in world football.
World football, yes.
Well, it ain't Thiago Alcantara.
I ain't saying it's Thiago.
I'm just saying it's not. I'm just ruling one person out.
I'm saying Kevin De Bruyne is better.
Stop it.
No, he's not.
Guys,
yes, he is.
He is not.
Well, he is because he
actually is not the best midfielder in world football.
He is best midfielder in world football.
He's not.
Oh, Daddy, just let him have it.
It's Kovacic.
He's one of Paul Pogba is one of the greatest midfielders to ever play football.
Well, you can have that. Like, no one's even arguing that, but he's not the greatest midfielder. He's not the best midfielder in world football now.
Terry, why do you think?
If you're talking about the ability that he has, maybe that's one thing, but he hasn't.
Maybe missed opportunity, yeah, possibly. Missed opportunity.
Because he put up a world-class performance against Roma. Now we're losing.
That's your thing.
Paul Pogba has a World Cup medal around his neck, dog. Like, I
so
get
does
you guys are going to talk about
KDB.
KDB.
So does Lloris. What does that mean?
Let's stop it now. KDB is better than Pogba.
Maybe he is, but KDB wouldn't do as well at Man United. It wouldn't do as well as at Man United as Paul Pogba had done through this period. And do you know what I'm looking forward to? I pray. This is why I hope it works for Ollie, regardless of my personal feelings. Because if we get the right players and we turn into this team, we're already seeing as we're getting better, Pogba getting better. Why is that? Because all top players perform better in top teams. KDB's an advantage over Pogba. Is that he's been at a better run club in a better team for the last 3 or 4 years. If they were on a level playing field with both teams being equal, Paul Pogba will outshine him, outperform him week in, week out.
The reason why I'm saying this is the argument, and Terry, you're better than that, is because I could make the same argument that if Eden Hazard was given the resources in terms of the players that he had under Chelsea, because he worked under too many defensive managers, he would have been up there with the greatest players.
I understand that, and that's a fair hypothesis. But mine is based on the fact that when you put Paul Pogba in the French team and you look at him at Juve, who were both great teams, he stood out as one of, if not the best player in those teams, helped them win titles, helped them win World Cups. So with Paul Pogba, I have tangible evidence that when he's in a very good team, he shines like he is the brightest shining star within that squad, probably barring Kylian Mbappe. So for me, the Hazard thing, we don't know. He went to Real Madrid and all he's done.
You can't do that. You really can't, because we're saying all things equal. Eden Hazard went to Real Madrid with a number of injuries. I'm not saying it wasn't his fault in terms of maybe overeating and stuff like that, but he went with injuries. It's not all things being equal.
But Paul Pogba picked Man United. That's maybe his fault then. He picked the wrong club. Is that his fault?
I'm not even hearing it. Paul Pogba not too long ago, the United fans were saying he should be sold. Some people said he should be sold.
I don't care what top. I don't care. I don't care what Gary, the top red in the pub, had to say. I'm talking about what Terry Flewers, the founder, owner, CEO, and MD of the football Terrace. I can't believe I said that. That's what I think. But we've got some super chats here. I love these chats. Says, you guys do realise City are about to sell Sterling and have a front four of KDB, Haaland, Grealish, Mahrez, Foden.
I want to know who your source is.
Who's buying Sterling?
I heard that rumor today, actually, that could be happening. I think a lot of clubs would buy Sterling, to be honest with you. I think he might need a bit of a change. And Pep Guardiola is only doing what he tried to do 5 bloody years ago. I love how that rumor is like they quashed it, because they tried to make him a make-weight in the Sanchez from Arsenal deal. Yeah. And they denied it after it fell through. Of course you would, but I love that. They're going to get rid of him now. Someone hit the KD disrespect. Daniel.
It is disrespect.
No. Because what I didn't do is a stereotypical, I'm a Twitter bot. I didn't say KDB's trash.
You didn't. But you said it so confidently that Pogba's better.
Yes, because he's better. But KDB, hang on. But KDB is the 3rd best midfielder in the world. Do you know what I mean? It's just
No. But the rebuttal to that is that no one's saying you did that. Yeah, fair enough. No, fair enough that you didn't say he was trash. Of course, we know that, Terry, and I believe Neeks and Cam all agree as well. But we're trying to say that it's disrespectful because it's so clear that KDB is better than Pogba.
Terry, who's number 2? Terry, who's number 2?
Number 2, Bruno Fernandes, straight up.
Yeah, back to the game.
On Bruno Fernandes, just quickly, he is 2 goals away from breaking Frank Lampard's Premier League record for the most goals scored in a single season by a Premier League midfielder, and he's 4 goals away from breaking Manchester United and Sir Bobby Charlton's record of 29 goals from a midfielder in a singular season. That's how good Bruno Fernandes has been this year, that he's about to break 2 records that nobody ever thought would be beaten at Man United in the Premier League. Just throwing that out there for how good he's been. By the way, I do think KDB technically is better than him. There's no doubt about it. It's a little bit of fun. If you're triggered by it, go soak your head.
That's getting clipped up now, mate. That's getting clipped up now.
Hit me up. Do what you got to do. On Liverpool, though, Jurgen Klopp has said, if you don't make the top 4, it will not damage your summer transfers, what you can do moving forward. Firstly, Conroy, do you agree that it won't damage your summer activity? And secondly, is that why winning on Sunday is so important? Because if you don't agree, not making the top 4 could actually stop you from progressing by not landing the targets that you want.
See, to be honest, Terry, see, if you'd asked me like last month, I'd say I don't think we're going to have necessarily a big summer or whatever you want. I don't think Liverpool will ever sign an Mbappe or Haaland anyway. So a big summer to us is a Konate, a striker, maybe 3 or 4 signings, but within that maybe 40 to 50 million bracket, 30 to 50 million. But see, the thing is with regard to the European Super League, I do feel like that has put an impetus on clubs have to spend in the summer, because I think there's a lot of fans on a knife edge right now, especially at FSG. So I actually can see the club spending in the summer. And I can see a lot of fans who were saying last week that no, FSG out will change their tune once they get when they spend a bit of money, which I don't agree with, but I do think that will happen. So I actually don't think the Champions League this year, maybe to a certain extent, maybe not as much money. Sonny might disagree. I actually think they will spend this summer because I feel like the fans are a bit of a divide right now, and they know if they spend this summer, they'll get a lot more on side. So that's my take on it.
Yeah. How about yourself, Sonny? Do you think that your summer and therefore next season is riding on the top four? Or do you think that, you know what, FSG are just going to put their money where their mouth is anyway and dig deep in those pockets regardless?
Well, we don't know how big our summer's going to be anyway. Like, for all we know, it might just be Konate and maybe another 20 million signing. But I think they've definitely said stuff similar before, but I don't know if I'm right with this. I believe they have said that they're going to back their manager this summer. They said it a few years ago. And our biggest signing was 16-year-old Harvey Elliott from Fulham. I think it was that year.
Say Vandenberg,
yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean. So I never really, since then, I've never really like even listened to what FSG say in terms of like how they're going to back the manager, because half the time, in terms of my backing, like you might as well just you're doing zero effort.
How about you, so, Neeks, from your point of view, do you think that Liverpool fans are having the wool pulled over their eyes a little bit? We've seen a lot of things. I think it was in January they said, sort of briefed everybody, they're not going to buy anyone big because they're going to go big in the summer. They now may not be in the Champions League. They're still saying that they're not saying they're going to go big now, but they promised that in January. And now Klopp is saying that it won't impact our summer. Do you expect them, regardless of Champions League, to spend big and rejuvenate? Or do you think Liverpool are going to have to sell to buy?
Well, it depends how we classify big. If we're talking about Mbappe, Haaland,
yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, well, so if you're talking about that, then you have to sell. You're going to have to sell. I would say one of the two of Mane or Salah. Firmino, how much would he fetch in today's market? I think maximum you're going to get from him is 50. If someone really wants a player like him,
I think you're being generous. I think
that's what I said. I said maximum. If somebody wants a player just like that, really. But you have to sell one of those two if you're trying to get a Haaland or an Mbappe or even a Sancho. If we're talking about, we're hearing news about Konate, we're hearing Basuma. There was someone else, Patson Daka. I did hear about that as well.
Apparently he's going to Leipzig now, mate. That was just today's rumors, though.
Yeah, there's still those sort of names, though. It's like Marlin, like Newhouse. I think
Andre Silva.
If we're talking about players in that bracket, the 40, 50 million kind bracket, I can see Liverpool signing 2 or 3 of those.
Yeah.
This season.
Some fans would be happy with that, though. Some fans would be happy with that, and that's what I mean. That thing.
Okay, but are you saying you wouldn't be happy with that?
No, for me, I think that'll keep the fans there will not be any of FSG out, protests or anything like that. I think that'll quiet's the wrong word to put, content a lot of fans, whereas I'm not on that persuasion. I am a bit, I think the club can be run better. This delusion that Liverpool are ever going to sign Mbappe or Haaland, I mean, there's so many factors that they wouldn't anyway. But you're absolutely right, Neeks. If they're going to do that, it's going to be, I'll have to sell one of them. And even with the market right now, and I know COVID doesn't have as much effect as people on the money as they say, but even a Mane or a Firmino right now, they're actually in such poor form.
I was going to ask that, how much is Mane worth in today's market based on the season he's had? I think he still has credit in the bank, but somebody can see what.
If you're a suitor and you're watching him right now, are you going to offer?
It's like, where does he
90
go?
mil?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that does make it makes a little bit of an impact, but it's also about, if you're a club and you're buying Mane, it's why are you buying it? So what goes into the valuation of a player is what they call the sporting potential. Sporting potential plays a really big factor in the valuation. If you're a big club and you're buying him, you've got to be buying him for a reason, right? To improve your attacking line. If you're buying him to improve your attacking line, you're ignoring the season that he's had because you know that he's got the ability to rejuvenate that attacking line, if that makes sense. It isn't kind of like, if you're a top team, that is. If it's West Ham, Fulham, and Napoli that come in for him, you're not getting big money. But if a star team that should be challenging for titles, back to our point earlier with Sonny, a big team in any country that is expected to win a title, you're only buying Mane to help you win that title. That's the valuation increases because you're looking at him, aren't you? So that needs to be taken into consideration. Plus, I think Mane's issue is based on what we said. I think he's lost a bit of hunger at Liverpool and wants to move on. Liverpool know that. So when he goes to Barcelona or Real Madrid, I think you'll see the old Mane come back because you'll feel
that surprises me, Terry. I saw Mane, especially out if you compare it to Salah. I saw him as one who would want to stay at Liverpool longer, become a legend of the club more than Salah. Salah seems like someone, yeah, I'm gonna go off to Real Madrid or Barcelona. I'm an Egyptian god anyway, so wherever I go, I got my following. Whereas I feel like Mane I felt like he wanted the love of the club.
I felt it differently. I felt it differently, honestly, because even a few years ago, there's those rumors about him going to Real Madrid, and he didn't really shoot them down. He was kind of like, we'll see what happens in the future. He seems happy. Like this is the thing. All the Liverpool players, when they're winning and doing well, like they all seem very happy. But I think with Klopp's system and the way Klopp plays, very similar all the time. I think you need to mix in new players every now and then because they bring their own thing to the team. Like, look, at Jota came in and nobody knew Jota was this Jota until we saw him play in Liverpool. Like, yes, he looked good at Wolves. He did not look as good as he's looked in Liverpool's system, right? And it's because he has different attributes and different talents to a Firmino who was playing up front and to a Mane who seems like he has a little bit of gas. And I kind of agree with Terry. Like, if we bring that Mane that we saw for years over to Real Madrid, that he will be the Mane that we know he is. Because
I don't know.
I just think players do certain players. There's certain players in the world. I think that they do need to be refreshed and moved on. And that's not a knock on what's happening at Liverpool. It's just Liverpool does have a certain style. They do play a certain same way all the time, right? So it's like if you're Mane, you're kind of like, okay, it's just another day at the job. I don't know. I'm not the guy, but I do see him being the one that needs to move on.
It'll be an interesting one indeed. We'll do some starting lineups and predictions in a moment. Viewers tuning in, please hit that like and share button. Other big news today, Neeks. I want to go to you first with this. Laurie Whitwell reported this morning that Paul Pogba is very, very happy at Man United at the moment. He's got a great relationship with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Seemingly really impressed with the way Ole handled the spat with Mino Raiola. He didn't take it out on the player. He kept those two things separate, which is important. And the Athletic have reported that POGBA New Deal is on the agenda and it's likely to happen. Firstly, how encouraged are you by that news? And secondly, what do you think is, aside from what the media have said, what do you think has contributed to the potential turnaround of Paul Pogba and him staying at the football club?
I think first and foremost, he has a good relationship with Solskjaer. He's always had one. He's always publicly said that. And what Solskjaer's never done at any point when a lot of the fan base would have felt he was justified at doing it is throw Pogba under the bus. There's many times where you felt, Pogba's been out injured for X amount of time. Certain managers would have made a point of it. Whereas Solskjaer's like, he's recovering. He's trying to get back to his best. We hope to get him back at the end of the season. Even at a point when he knew Pogba wouldn't play last season, it was only because of a lockdown that he actually finished the season with us. But it's always like leaving that olive branch out for Pogba to hopefully turn his mind around. I think how Solskjaer separated Mino from him, I think that's also a factor in it as well. He's always dealt with Mino or responded to him directly as a person. You've spoken those words. I'm not going to relate that to Pogba because I don't have that relationship with him. So I think that's definitely big. But we have to also be honest. We know Pogba wanted to and maybe still has an eye on leaving, but the market has determined that the suitors out there for him are not as high and not as demanding as they were a couple of seasons ago. Even at the time when Real Madrid wanted him, they weren't willing to pay the money we wanted. So considering everything that's happened since, they're still not going to have the money that I guess we want in this market. Maybe they do. Maybe they think, we're going to go all out for him and get him this year, and maybe he does go. I think we have to accept that Pogba wants to go on to pastures new, but if the money isn't there, whether it's for him, whether it's for us, or whatever it might be, signing a new contract is probably best for him, because what a player doesn't want is you get to 6 months left, you get a big injury, and then you ain't got a contract. You have to then work. The players don't like running down their contract to nothing because it's very risky. So I'm just kind of happy, not because of COVID or anything like that, but that the market has put into a position where nobody can afford Pogba.
I hear you on that. Daniel, if you look at this from a rival's point of view, is it bad news that Paul Pogba is close to signing a new deal at Old Trafford?
As in bad news for the rivals?
Yeah.
No, not really. Like Pogba signs. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like so a player of Pogba's ability, a player of Pogba's obviously his love for Man United. For it to even be at this situation where he's going into the last year of his deal is a shock to me. Like obviously with everything that's happened, it's a will he stay or will he go situation. But in terms of me thinking about Chelsea and what Pogba means to the rest of the league, I actually want the best players to be in the Premier League. I think losing the best players doesn't make sense in terms of competition and how we see ourselves as a league. This comes from a league perspective. But in terms of just as a rival, like obviously, yeah, cool. If you lose Pogba, we'll laugh at you. But really and truly, it doesn't really bother me. Like it's like I couldn't care less if I'm being honest. And I think
he's meant to be the best midfielder in the world. You couldn't care less.
No, it's not even about that though. It's less about Pogba the player. It's more about Pogba staying at Man United doesn't really have a huge effect on Chelsea, in my opinion. You might see it as an indirect thing where if you have Pogba, it means you're one step closer to winning the league or something. But I don't see it like that. As a Man United fan, you would, but as a rival fan, I don't see it like that.
That's an interesting take. I mean, for me, I do look at things that way. When Chelsea lost Hazard, I knew it would make you less of a team, and it did for a small period of time. But you've kind of replaced it, and you've moved on and built something different. You don't have a player as technically gifted as him, but you've gone for something different. So I think Paul Pogba leaves a hole in Man United, especially now that Ollie has found this place for him, this kind of left-hand side where he starts and drifts in. Luke Shaw then covers on the overlap. I don't quite know what it means for Rashford if Jadon Sancho gets signed, but for me, it's a problem that I want my club to have.
What I think is interesting is, and you guys might disagree with it, but I think personally, Pogba is easy to replace in that Man United team.
Ooh, no. So I heavily disagree. That's I've been on record and I've said it a million times. I'd rather Pogba leave for free than sell him.
Yeah,
because he is absolutely irreplaceable. You let Pogba go.
Pogba doesn't run properly. That's why
two or three. No, not even that. It's not about that. So this is the thing. It's clearly we just have different opinions on what Pogba brings to the team and how important he is. In my opinion, like you need 2-3 players to replace a Paul Pogba, what he does on the pitch. So when you have to put in 2 or 3 players to replace a Paul Pogba, you're taking away somebody from the team. Having Paul Pogba in your side is just too valuable. Everything that he can do on the pitch, the leader he is. Like at the end of the day, people talk about people don't listen to what the actual footballers are saying and what the football. Pogba's a leader. Everybody's always said that. And like in my opinion, if we can keep Pogba, it's going to be one of the biggest check marks on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career because he did want to leave. And I'm going to say something that's a bit controversial here, that I think not having fans has actually helped our chances of keeping Pogba because he needs love so much. He's one of those guys, and there's nothing wrong with that. He needs to feel important. He needs to feel like he's the man. And when we have a certain fan base, like I remember like that were just going at him. Every time something went wrong, it was Pogba's fault. And what Ollie's done is he's insulated Pogba and been like, listen, probably behind the scenes, yeah, you're the man. But he hasn't put it out there to the public like Jose did, being like, whenever we failed, well, Pogba had a bad game. That's why we suck today. Ollie has never done that. He's made it clear that Pogba is a piece of the greater whole, but he's very important to the greater whole. And I think that's what he's needed. He's needed to see like, oh, look, there's Bruno, there's Cavani. Like, I'm in a team of world-class players, and now we're going to challenge for everything. He doesn't want to be the guy that's carrying the whole team. That's not him. That's okay. Bruno came in and was like, I got you. I'll carry us in that sense. He's a very different player. He's not the guy. He's came out and said, I remember he had an interview where he said, why is Iniesta not judged on goals? Why do people look at him and say that, you know, he's a great player, but he doesn't have to score every week and assist? It was in an interview. He was very frustrated at the pressure that's put on him to basically carry us. He doesn't like that pressure. So now with players around him that are so good, I think he's looking at it being like, okay, Real Madrid, I look at that team, I'm going to go there and I'm going to have that same pressure now. Maybe, you know, I just think he's perfect for us.
Go on, Danny. No, look, it's not a disrespect or a disservice to Pogba. I think there's some people who think Pogba's overrated. I'm definitely not in that category. Pogba's not overrated. I do think
he should have achieved more, though. Should have achieved more. Absolutely should have achieved more. Absolutely.
1,000%. And look, there are obviously circumstances to that and a lot of context around that. But what I'm saying is I do think his importance to Man United is a bit overestimated. The reason why I say that, and again, it's no disrespect to Pogba, I do believe Man United fans with their heads screwed on know that Pogba is, of course, important to the team and whatnot. But I've seen Man United play well, for example, without Pogba. I know what happens if I take out I know what happens if I take out the best player of every single top team in the league. So we've seen it with Liverpool with Van Dijk. We've seen it with Chelsea in that blip period that you talked about with Hazard. We know what Man City can be when they don't really have KDB organising the team like that. Of course, they went through a run, but that's through Pep tinkering and figuring out a way to do things. The reason why I'm saying Pogba is replaceable is because what he's done for Man United necessarily hasn't really tested or reached much. It hasn't done much. His heights haven't done much for you. I don't know if that's fair.
I understand what you're saying. When Conroy says he could have done more, I mean, you could label that argument. I know we won the Champions League, but you could label that argument at Steven Gerrard. He had nearly 20 seasons at Liverpool, and barring a Champions League.
When you look back, though, he still won a lot of trophies, Terry.
Yeah, he won and Pogba in his career has done that, and maybe will do at Man United. But I think what you have to factor into team sports is it's a team sport, and he wasn't playing. If when he arrived that summer, if Henrik Mkhitaryan would have been the player for Man United that he was at Dortmund, that would have helped Paul Pogba. What's helping Paul Pogba now is he's surrounded by people that are improving and getting better, and it's making him stand out as a performer. Would KDB be as creative and as brilliant if he was playing in a lesser side?
I think he would.
He might be, but Jack Grealish isn't delivering the same numbers as him and winning as many games because he's not passing the ball or having the ball passed to him by as good of players. So it limits you to what you can what you can do. He's the highest creator in the league, Grealish, but doesn't have the highest amount of assists. Why? Because he ain't passing to the right people. So his creativity is, if more of these crosses into the box and his through balls were being finished, you'd notice Grealish even more. And that's what happens when you're surrounded by top quality players. And I think with Paul Pogba, you're right about one thing. We could survive without him, but it means changing how we want to set up. There is no one, barring KDB, in my opinion, that you can bring in like for like in his position and us play and utilize in that same way.
You couldn't Terry, not even KDB. They're not even they're similar play. Pogba is a one of a kind central midfielder. There's not many central midfielders of his height, of his build, who can even dribble in the way that he does. Kevin De Bruyne can't dribble in the way that Pogba does. Not saying he's not effective in what he does, but you have to play in a different way. You can't replace him.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the key, though. I think if for Man United, playing in a different way might necessarily bring you to the success that you want. Look, at the end of the day, if I ask you now a quick question, in Pogba's 5 seasons at Man United, I believe 5 or 6 seasons, 5 seasons, how many seasons have been the Pogba that you've expected? 1?
I would say, in terms of full season, 1.
Exactly.
What's the second one?
For me?
Yeah.
Maybe the Mourinho Europa League.
This season.
This season?
For me,
he's played well half a season. You can't.
I don't blame injuries though. When he's been fit,
when he's played, he's been brilliant.
I look at it. I think his first season, I thought he was very, very good indeed. There was
for a first season, it was. Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe he said 1 season. We're making this argument.
No, but I haven't said that.
No, but it's an argument.
Third season was very, very good. Last year, he was out for the majority of the campaign. When he returned, though, back end of the season, excellent. This season, he's been fit for the majority. He's been excellent again. So the vast majority of his Man United career has been good. We just haven't been good. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that. Viewers, we want your thoughts on Paul Pogba, though. We're going to go to some super chats here. We had Lengon Sweet that says, Bruno Fernandes better than Paul Pogba. Shut the hell up, man. Don't be silly. Did anyone say that?
You said that, Terry.
No, you knew it was going to get clapped up. You knew it was going to get
Bruno second.
Yeah, I didn't say it was that. Dinesh here says, if Liverpool buy a player like Harry Kane, the amount of chances are the front three missed. He'll put many away. Yeah, he would. Harry Kane would be perfect for Liverpool.
Dinesh, I'll do you a favour. He's not coming, mate. So don't hold your breath, mate. He's not coming, mate.
You're going to get blue lips. Well said, Cam. Pogba may have weaknesses, but he is one of a kind. To rivals, we can replace him, but we'll never replace him with the same caliber of player. I agree with that completely. Great preview, guys. I want to do quickly some quick teams that you would pick in your predictions. Sonny, who would you pick as your starting 11 and what's the score going to be?
For my team, I'd change a formation literally just to drop Wijnaldum. I'd go for 4-2-1-3 or 4-2-3-1. I think you can imagine what that is. The usual front four. Back four, I think Nat Phillips is injured, so Trent, Alisson, Kabak, Fabinho will be a centre back for me. That's another reason why two midfielders, and Robertson. And I'd go for Thiago and Curtis Jones, or Thiago and Milner.
Fair dues. How about yourself, Conroy? Would you do something different?
Yeah, I think I actually agree with you saying, Sonny, and I can imagine a 4-2-3-1, but I think it'll be a 4-3-3 at Old Trafford. I think it'll be Phillips is definitely not fit, Sonny. He's definitely not fit. So it'll be Fabinho at centre back. We're not going to see. It'll be Fabinho and Kabak. We're not going to see Davis or Reece Williams. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen at all games. Trent, Robbo at left back, and then I'd say the three will be. People forgot, unless it's all rivals aside in that, but Curtis Jones is actually a pretty good season. But we're clouding this. Bring Kate in for this game. Jones has actually been the only performer. I'd probably say Fabinho wasn't. No, but there has been several. No,
I hope you play Keita.
No. But for me, Jones is actually not deserved to be dropped. So Jones should be starting. Jones, Thiago, and then I would say, I think it'll be Milner. But having thought about that, I could see him. Do you think he'll play Gini, Sonny? Do you think he'll play Gini in the sixth?
I don't even want to think about it. I really don't.
I think Gini will play. I know, but I think Gini will play, and then I think it'll be Milner and Thiago. So actually, unfortunately, I don't think Jones will start. He probably deserves a start. And in the front three for me would be Jota on the left, or wherever you want him. Firmino and Salah. Mane can sit on the bench because he deserves to be in the bench. I mean, it's that simple, really. But yet again, the preview this week, should Mane start? It's like, he just needs a break because he's actually trying too hard at the moment. As Terry said, maybe it's like in his head a bit much now. He just needs to get on the bench for a bit. I'm not saying it's not bad for him. Some people need a break. So for me, Jota's had 2 poor games, but Jota's been amazing this season. So he's got much more credit in the bank this season to start.
I hear you. That one sec, guys. Sorry, there's a few people saying Terry Gerrard had a great career. You're misinterpreting my point. Conroy said Pogba should have achieved more. I think a player of Gerrard's quality should have achieved more. That's the point. Not that he didn't achieve anything. Please learn to understand that. Neeks, who would you pick to start for United?
I mean, I was going to say, regardless of whether Mane is on the bench or on the pitch, we're not going to see him because Wan-Bissaka back pocket ain't going to make a difference.
Hang on, hasn't he? He's not been
excuse me, guys. This is my prediction. Whether Salah starts or not, Luke Shaw back pocket. To be fair, he scored in the FA Cup, but they lost anyway. Whatever, Luke Shaw back pocket. There was a comment in the chat from Adam Palmer. He goes, Neeks is a typical United fan. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I hope so. But anyway, I don't know what that means. But I would go, like, if it was me personally, I would go with Henderson in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, best left back in the league this season, Maguire and Bailly.
Just name your team, man. Just name your team.
Whoa. You had a big discussion about Gini.
I never said all these best players in the world or anything like that.
I will go with McFred in the middle, McTominay and Fred. I know it's not what we all like, but I think it's necessary to allow Pogba to play further forward, who I would play on the left. I will go with Greenwood through the middle. It's a tough one now because if Fabinho plays, you kind of want the Cavani strength and build against someone like Fabinho. If it was Nat Phillips, then I'm like, yeah, Rashford, Green would just run off them, man. So it's a bit of a tough one, but because Cavani's, you can't play him too often, I think I'll probably go Greenwood. And I would actually start Rashford on the right for this game. I said when we were talking yesterday, in all the big games, Liverpool, Leicester, and then the Europa League final, I'll play Rashford. I'll rest him for every game in between that. Of course, Bruno Fernandes in the number 10.
There we go. Cam, how about yourself?
So I don't think my team's much different than Neeks's. I just would probably change the formation to get more control in the midfield. I'd drop Pogba into the midfield, and I would just go with the diamond. I don't want Rashford to start, but he's going to. So play Rashford and Greenwood up top, and then drop Pogba into the midfield with Bruno and McFred, and then our back four kind of picks itself in the big games. I would like to see Bailly start, but the truth is he won't. I just don't think he will. So it'll be Maguire and Lindelof, Luke Shaw on the left, and Wan-Bissaka pocketing Sane on the right, and then the midfield four, and I think that midfield four. When I say drop Pogba deeper in the midfield to gain control, I just kind of mean it's the way Ollie's been using Pogba in this left side role. He hasn't been stuck there. Anybody who's been watching, he hasn't been playing like Martial or Rashford when they play on the left. He's been free roaming. And I think that's going to happen again. And he's going to move across the pitch. We just need that control in the midfield.
I was about to say Trent's in trouble with that. Because it pulls the centre-back and the full-back from pillar to post. Luke Shaw then on the overlap. It could be, honestly, I love watching Trent Alexander-Arnold try and defend. It's amazing, Rob. Do you know
I love watching Wan-Bissaka be completely out of position when you concede.
And that happens how often?
Every time you concede.
Oh, nice one.
Well, ain't Mane putting it in the back of the net.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, you can have a pop at Wan-Bissaka for how awkward he looks on the ball, his weird dribbling technique and passing technique, but criticizing his defensive abilities, barring he gets caught under balls that gets diagonal balls every now and then. I give he's got to work on that. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is the best young defensive fullback in world football. There is no shadow of a doubt about that. So, like, attacking his defensive abilities is mad. But for me, it's going to be an interesting one with what I want to see. I want Bruno to start. I want Pogba to start. Greenwood as well in terms of that. But when I look at the back line, Henderson, best young goalkeeper in the league, got to start. Luke Shaw, best left back in the league this season, got to start. Right back, best young right back in the league, got to start in Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And then you then look at the centre back, the very best centre back pairing. No, that's a joke. I can't even lie.
The most expensive centre back.
You couldn't pull that one off, Terry. Couldn't pull that one off.
No, I couldn't lie. Sometimes I like to lie and smile. Sometimes I can't do it. Now, listen, it's going to be an interesting game. I'm going to put my score prediction. I'm going to go 3-0 Man United. 3-0 Manchester United. 3-0 Manchester United. Do you know what's going to happen, right? Nicola here, Terry sounded like Arsenal. Listen, I'm only messing around. Why do people take jokes? So, no, Alphonso Davies is better. When was the last time Alphonso Davies played in the Premier League? This is what's being said. Everyone's like, no, he's not. Listen, I'm only messing, but we will beat Liverpool 3-0 this weekend. We are going to expose that higher line. It's going to leak like a broken fridge. It is absolutely going to be amazing. And we are going to, honestly, Sunday night, we are going to be sitting there, toasting champagne on the football terrace, celebrating the victory, ending Liverpool's season as we head to a major European final, finishing in a good second place. Pogba signing a new deal, Cavani signing a new deal, Sancho's coming in the summer. The only thing we can change at the club is them damn Glazers that we've got to get out. But we're on the way back on a footballing sense, and that's what's going to happen. And Liverpool fans are going to be crying, boo-hooing. Nah. I can't wait. Amazing. That's it.
I'm going. It's funny because last time I said this, we got slapped 6-1 by Spurs. That's not going to happen. Don't worry. But I feel we're going to deal with Liverpool. Like, we don't really often deal with Liverpool.
It's got a good track record, mate. It's at Old Trafford. You've got a pretty
good I know. But it's still Liverpool. We don't often, like, when we've beaten you even in the recent past, it's been by one goal. 2-1, 3-2. There's been nil-nils and 1-1s. But I think we're going to deal with you lot. I think we're going to really put a nail in the cup. And maybe I'm just confident because it, like, when all is said and done, it ain't going to change our position, and I don't think it's going to change yours. I think we're going to finish second. I think you're going to finish outside the top 4. But I think we should just go for it. Don't play cagey like we did at Anfield. Just go for it. Liverpool's defense are there to be taken.
This is the definition of the season for me, right? See Liverpool against United. I don't care how Liverpool play. Never cared. It's all about the result. We played in the FA Cup. I hear people coming out saying, "Oh, we played well." What is happening? What is actually going on? There's some games, right, that just annoys me, and it's just positive for positive sake. There's some games that the performance means, I was going to swear there, but it means nothing, right? It means F all, right? Yeah. It's about the result, 100%. And it really annoys me when people try to say positive. Oh, but you know, we're quite good in that game. Fernandes, Alisson's corner, last minute of the game, free kick, game's lost. I don't care if we played well. And this is the thing that annoys me. So 100% feel like the best we can get is a draw. So I'm going for
and on that really quick, I had the same people saying that about Newcastle the other week. Well, at least we created chances. We only took one.
I love it. Daniel, your score prediction, bro?
Yeah. I don't think he'll slap Liverpool. I don't think that will happen. I want United to win, obviously, for obvious reasons. Kind of puts the nail in the coffin in Liverpool's top 4 aspirations. But this game never really lives up to the expectation that everyone gasses it up to be in it. That's why I either see a 0-0 or 1-1. I think I'll just go with 1-1 because I want to see goals. You know, when you watch a big game and it's boring, that's actually the biggest regret of you wasted so much time. But yes, I'll go with 1-1, and I think it'll be 1-1.
Was it Red Monday a couple of years ago? It was a Monday night game and it was 0-0. Horrible game. Remember that? That was
Man United Liverpool games have been boring for as long as I can remember.
They have been.
I can't remember. The last good one was in the
the FA Cup game was.
Well,
that game was dope.
Outside of that,
Premier League game,
I get that. I think this could be good though because Man United, we're not. What's that right? Like we can't. It's not a free hit. It's not like we losing isn't going to be nice, but we're not going into it with pressure to win the game. And I think that will
narrative in every game, every big Man United Liverpool game. Like it's either Liverpool are in the form of their life, so they're going to beat Man United 5-0, for example, and that just doesn't happen. Do you know what I'm saying? So
big up.
I'm going 3-1.
Here says 3-1 to Liverpool, to Man United. Liverpool to score first, and United to punish them. I hope, Neets. I legitimately hope that's the case. Listen, everyone that's tuned in today, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. Kendall is here at 9 p.m. So make sure you're tuning in for her show then. It means a great deal to us if you do that. But until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless.